What is going on, you guys? This is Clayster with a long overdue YouTube video. It's been quite a while since I've made and uploaded on YouTube, but I needed to make this video to explain what happened. Sure, as many of you know, I've been traded off of FaZe Clan to eUnited, and for Gunless, Gunless is, a lot of people know who he is. He's won an event this year. He's a really big up-and-comer. eUnited just kind of got into the scene semi-recently. And I kind of just want to touch on everything that happened because I've been on FaZe like 2 years and 2.5 years around there. I've been teaming with Dylan like 2.5 years. And I just feel like I at least owe you guys an explanation of what happened. I've had a lot of people giving me support, a lot of people hating on me, saying like, I'm a team hopper, and I just kind of want to set the record straight about what happened and how everything really played out because it was a lot more amicable than you guys would think. I guess I'll start with like step one. We had been teaming for 2 years. We'd only won events in Advanced Warfare or even come close. The closest we'd been was ESWC this year when we got second place. And we hadn't won in like 19 months, 20 months, something like that. A lot of teams would be happy with like third place or, in Black Ops 3, we didn't place worse than 8th, but like better than 4th. And then like in this game, we're like the third best team in the game. So it's like a lot of teams would be really happy with that, but all of us and what we were trying to do at FaZe is to win. And, there has to be a line drawn at some point. There was, we got close at ESWC this year, had a couple more close calls. And then I think season 1 playoffs is really where things kind of kicked itself into gear. I called a team meeting with everybody, the squad, the 3 teammates, Zuma, Attach, Enable, and our coach, Replays. And we had to talk for like 2.5 hours. I called it together and I was like, guys, when is the line drawn? Like I just said, we are all good players. We have had excuses in the past, like in Black Ops 3, it was just like not our game. And then in this game, it's always been eUnited and OG. And like at the Vegas this year, it was the Synaptic and the OSA. And we've always had all these excuses. And then we got through Optic at season 1, beat LG, and then proceeded to lose to Splice and lose to LG to get knocked out of the tournament. So we had our opportunity to win the tournament, and we still managed to choke and get third. And I think that was really the catalyst for everything because now we don't really have an excuse to blame anything on. We don't have the Optic or United like roadblock or whatever. We beat Optic, who we hadn't been able to beat since Vegas, and that should have been basically the tournament for us. So we all had to talk. We're all mature adults about things. We want to make sure that everybody understands where everybody's coming from, and we're very open in our communication with each other and whatnot. So we all talked about it, and we're like, hey, the line, we haven't won in 19 months. You need a change of pace. You need some fresh scenery. You need some new voices in your headset. Like you need people to think differently about the game because obviously what we're doing is not working. So then we all talk about it. And we all kind of agree that like if we can get an upgrade for any player on the team, regardless of who it is, that person would take that and just get traded to the other team for the betterment of FaZe or for just to make sure that the other 3 had the person they wanted. Because especially being who we are, like we've been kind of off the market for 2 years. And so us 4 players although we haven't won, we're still pretty big brands and we're still pretty good players. So a lot of teams want us and a lot of teams want us to represent them. So we all kind of agreed that if we wanted a change or if we wanted to find an upgrade, we'd do that. Zuma and Attach were a little on the fence about it. They really didn't really want to make a change, but me, Enable, and Replays all kind of agreed that something needed to happen regardless of what it was. And so this is where things kind of start getting a little murky, I guess. I just wanted to preface this whole next thing with that because I just want you guys to know that like we agreed to this. We all 4 agreed to it. It was a team decision. Like, not to trade me, but that a change was necessary, okay? So just remember that as I continue throughout these next 2 or 3 weeks and kind of flesh out the details for you guys. So after season 1, we go back home and, I shot some texts out to the teammates and, like, was shooting texts out to other players, see who was available, seeing who was, switching teams, who wanted to team with me, who wanted to team with any of the combination of the players we had on the team. And there was definitely some offers and stuff before Anaheim. I actually had quite a few offers before Anaheim. Even FaZe had a few offers to like put somebody on our team in place of somebody. And before Anaheim, I think it was that Saturday or that Friday before I played the 2K with eUnited on all the fake gamer tags. Um, I got a call from like V call from our investor. I don't know if he's actually an investor. He's just it's this Norwegian guy who basically has like a very high tier managerial role in FaZe now. So everything we deal goes through him now and our general manager. And so we don't talk to like Temp or anything, any of those guys really anymore. So don't think that this conversation or anything like this has to do with Tommy or the other guys on the YouTubing side of FaZe and the content creation side of FaZe. So we had the call. He told me that the team wanted to the other three wanted to move on and they wanted to trade me for Gunless, and I was like, okay. Like, I was pretty upset and pretty beat up about it because it's like I felt like at least at season one, because this was before Anaheim, I felt at least before season one I played really really well, and I think I've been playing the best IW I've been playing all year long right now, and so I was pretty upset about it. I was pretty beat up about it. Ended up going to bed that night. Like, actually didn't go to bed, stayed up all night. And then the next day was the 2K with eUnited. And then we ended up actually winning that. I have a lot of fun playing Call of Duty that day, playing with those guys. And so, I was like, all right, I'll make the best out of the situation. I told them I would take it, like I would take whatever trade they would do. Maybe it's better in the long run because it does, there's some silver linings in just about every trade or roster change or whatever. And since it was such a mutual thing and that we agreed to it, I was just like, okay, I'll be an adult and I'll hold true to my word. And I will go to eUnited for Gunless. That's what you guys want. So then, Gunless, that night, the next day, during the 2K day, I think Gunless told, after speaking with them the night before, saying they wanted to play with them, the next day, like, he told them being Enable, Attach, and Zuma, that he didn't want to play with them and that he was going to bench himself if that they traded for him and that he didn't want to play for FaZe. And, well, at least that's what they told me. And so I'm not sure if that's exactly how it went down, but that's what I was told, is that he said he didn't want to play for FaZe anymore. So then they call me, obviously, and they're like, nothing's been inked yet. It's 24 hours before roster lock. We're going to work through this and, like, build a culture around this and build, we're going to build from here. And we're going to make sure that we, like, work through this. We're going to finish what we started. We're going to, like, finish this year out. Like, we're going to, like, build through it. And me personally, like, FaZe is FaZe, and I loved everything about being in FaZe. And I hope I love it United even more, but, I don't know yet. So it's like I wanted to stay in FaZe. Like, I wanted to be on FaZe, regardless of who was on the team. If it meant, like, I just got dropped, and then they're like, we want to play with you again. And it's like, okay, I'll give it my best shot as long as you guys give it your best shot. Because a similar thing happened on Optic back when I was on their team. They dropped me after a tournament, and then 3 months later, they inevitably finished releasing me. So I knew the inevitable was going to happen. I knew that I tried to convince myself and convince them that, we were going to work through it and make sure that we put our best effort into it. But even, like, in the back of my mind, I knew, just because of what happened when I was on Optic. So I've been in a very similar situation before. So, they decide we want to work through it. No trade ends up getting facilitated. Roster's locked for Anaheim, and we're playing Anaheim with this team. And we're like, all right, okay. So then Zuma was having hand surgery, and he had a cyst removed off of his like joint or something. So he couldn't practice. So we were practicing filling in with replays, and we were actually doing pretty well with replays. We were just scrimming as a fill-in for him while Tommy got his hand healed. And then I ended up getting this root canal that happened like a week before Anaheim. And like the day I flew out is when I got the root canal. And the day Tommy Zuma flew out, he got his cast off for his hand surgery. So we were a little beat up in that sense, but it wasn't that the vibe was off, but I could just tell that, like, nobody really wanted to win. Like, and it's not a knock at them. Maybe it was just because of my root canal and because of Tommy's wrist, everybody, including myself, because, like, I didn't have the same energy levels as I should have had because my tooth hurts so bad. And so, like, even myself, all four of us, it was kind of like this weird, it wasn't weird vibes. I don't want to say that. There wasn't, like, tension or anything. Like, we all were hanging out, joking, going out to dinner and stuff together, like, getting drinks and stuff together. Like, there was no weird tension in that aspect. But when we were playing, something felt a little off. Everything felt a little, like, out of rhythm. Like, everyone felt very uncomfortable. I could tell that, like, we just weren't playing well. And so after the Anaheim, I was like, okay, something's got to change. There's a lot of money to be made in these next two events, and I do not feel that this current team with us 4 players will win an event. Like, either one of these next two events. Like, World War II, maybe. These two events, like, just the way we played at Anaheim and, like, how the mindset and everything that's happened, I want a good opportunity to win these next two events. So I approached them and I approached management. I was like, hey, guys, like, this isn't going to work. We need to change something regardless of what it is. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, I've been on so many teams. Like, I know when things are going to work and when they're not. And it's like, we're in a very bad, like, mental spot right now, and we need to change something up to fix that. So then we get back home after Anaheim. I start dealing with a little more personal shit that I'm not going to get into. And they called me, our managerial guy. He called me and he was like, okay, so why would we trade you for Gunless, especially with World War II coming up? Why would we trade you for him, especially like who you are, like your brand, what you bring to the team? Why would we trade you for him? And I was like, I mean, I don't know. Like, why would you? And he was like, kind of fed up with the situation because everybody kept like changing their minds back and forth. And like, I was the only real consistent one throughout the whole thing. And I've said this to them, and I'll say it to you guys, like, I only really wanted to keep Zuma. Attached was on the fence. I think that if I could have like had control of the team, I probably would have kept Attached because he's a really good player. But like, I just, if we could make changes, you might as well do it as a big change instead of keeping a core 3 that's not working well. And then I wanted Enable traded. And so that was what I wanted consistently throughout the whole thing. And that's what I told everybody. I told them. They knew that. That's where I stood on the issue. And I think it created a little bit of like a 3v1 or 2v1 situation where like Attach and Enable were then like, oh, I want you gone. Because Tommy's not like, doesn't really care. He just wants to be on FaZe. And so then it turned into kind of like a 3v1. Not to say that they like pushed me out or anything, because like I said, it was something that we talked about, and it was something that I brought up to them after Anaheim that like, hey, this team isn't going to work. And so I get it. Like, I don't harbor any ill will towards them. Me, Attached, and Replays were hanging out last night for like 3 hours. Like, we're all good. And so after Anaheim, they legit were like, okay, why would we trade you? It doesn't make sense to trade a superstar. And I was like, okay. And so then the day before rosters locked for season 2 in Champs, our investor guy called me and was like, hey man, like, I was like, I wanted this figured out. I'm dealing with some stuff in real life right now, so I need to get this figured out so I can like, have some release and go out tonight. And so then he's like, okay, you, Zuma, Enable will trade Attach for Gunless, and that will be your new team on FaZe. And I was like, okay. If that's the decision that's going to be made, they're like, you and Ian are going to have to work your things out. And I was like, I think it's gassed hella hard that me and Ian like don't like each other, or that like we like don't get along. Me and Ian do get along very well. We just have differing opinions a lot of the time. And like, me and Nadeshot didn't get along. Me and Ian get along. We could talk about things. And I was like, okay, if he's willing to work through it, I'm willing to work through it. So then that was what the final say was. I went out that night at like 3 a.m. I had like Gunless texting me saying he's excited to team with me and stuff. And then I go to sleep at like 4 or 5 a.m. I wake up at 10 a.m. to a call from our investor, our managerial guy again. And he's then telling me, hey, sorry to wake you up. And he called me like 10 times. So when somebody calls you that many times, I was like hungover, like, what? And he's like, we just want to let you know that we're trading you to eUnited, and we're getting Gunless in return. And I was like, well, like 6 hours ago, I was on the team and Dylan was getting traded off the team for Gunless. And so then at this point, I'm like, whatever. Like, just, it was like the same situation on Envy where like for like 2 weeks, I was on the team, I was off the team, I was on the team, I was off the team. It's like, at this point, I just want to start playing again and start working towards winning. Like, just trade me. And like, I got kind of like pissy with them because 6 hours previous, I was on the team, and then now I'm the one getting traded again. And so I was like, what changed? What happened? And he was like, well, apparently Pierce changed his mind. Gunless changed his mind from... Gunless said he really wanted the team with me and Enable, and he didn't really care about Attach or Zuma. And then somewhere between 3 a.m. and 10 a.m., he changed his mind and wanted the team with Attach instead of me. So then I got traded to eUnited, and that's pretty much the entire story, guys. Like, I was, since I had already been upset about it the first time 2 weeks ago when I got dropped, when this one happened, I was just excited to get playing again. And I really think that the Twins and Silly are really nasty on eUnited, and I have a really good shot of winning with them. And like, I have a lot to learn from them. They have a lot to learn from me. And I'm sure you guys have seen from the streams in the past couple of days, we get along really well. Obviously, we're still in our honeymoon phase, but we get along really well. I'm really happy with how things kind of ended up. Like, yeah, it's not my, like it's not FaZe, but hopefully we can like brand it to be as big as FaZe one day. Hopefully I can eventually just stay on one team because that's what it's all about. Like I'm almost a little tired of building brands for organizations and then just kind of like not getting anything in return, like no equity in the company, no reciprocation, like just a flat bill. Like there's nothing that like really is I'm investing so much in these companies and they do pay me salary and pay our expenses and stuff, but when it comes to like long-term holdings, it's really just I'm like building up other brands just to get dropped or traded away eventually. So it's a little tough for me in that aspect. And I do love FaZe and I loved my old teammates and I loved all the fans and I loved the culture around it. And I really was disappointed to be off FaZe. But after everything kind of shook out, it didn't seem like Zuma, Attach, and Enable wanted to play with me anymore. And if they don't want to play with me, I don't want to play with them. Like, it's as simple as that. And that's kind of why maybe it did evolve into like a 3v1 situation, is because it was like, if you three really don't want to play with me, like, I don't want to play with you. Like, we're not going to win like that. So it's a little convoluted in the way things went down where, like, I was getting dropped, then I wasn't. We were building through it. And then they wanted me. And then, like, 6 hours later, they traded Attach or vice versa. You know what I mean? So it's a little convoluted in that sense, but I don't really want to put like too much hate on FaZe or like on the teammates or anything. I just wanted to share the whole story, and it's not like I was wronged. It's like not like I was fucked over. Like it really wasn't like I was on Cole or something like that, like, or Optic. Like it wasn't like they just cut me, no notice, like whatever. Like this is something we had been talking about, something we had a very open communication line with, something that I was even okay with when it came down to the time, because I told them I'm a man of my word. I told them I would do it if they wanted me gone. I would step back, let somebody replace me, and I'd go somewhere else and try and win there. So no hard feelings. I don't want anybody really to think of this as a negative video, because it's really not. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what happened. Everybody knew the whole storyline, everything that really just unfolded throughout the entire ordeal. I'm sure Zuma, Attach, and Enable, and even some of the FaZe managers can share some more insight into the story, because I felt a little like alone and like on my own island a little bit. Like people wouldn't be texting me back, or like they'd be all having calls, all four of them together and not me. And so maybe there's some more insight that goes into this, and maybe there's some other stuff that happened. But from my perspective, that is the entire timeline. I hope you guys continue to support me on eUnited. With everything that's been going on in my life, I just want to say thank you guys. Like it means a lot to me, and I don't think I'd still be doing this stuff if it wasn't for you guys. So really, really do appreciate you guys. All the love on Twitter, all the love that's been in my DMs and stuff like that, and my stream chat. It's very, very much appreciated. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys still continue to support, and we'll see you next time. Much love, everyone. Peace out.